Hi there guys, hope you're all well and welcome back to a new video. So this is going to be a weekly outlook. I'm just going to break down gold, euro US dollar, pound US dollar, and then also Bitcoin. And I'll basically just show you what my predictions are for the week and what we could potentially see from the market. So this is gold right now. We saw off the back end of last week that we did actually have a big sell-off on gold. If you look at gold, even just from a daily perspective, it's just been pushing up and up and up and up and up. This isn't normal behavior. You can see here, you have it again, pull back, potentially go again, and then this was a big consolidation pretty much for half of a year. With tensions obviously coming on around the world and, the wars and the risk of this and the risk of that, gold has continued to push higher, but now we have actually had a push down and potentially we could now see some movement to the downside. If we look at the hourly, just because it's a little bit more clear, you can see that at the top here, we have actually had a double top on gold on the 4-hour time frame. If we then use the structure point of that, we could use this level here as support. And then potentially what we could see following the market next week is price coming to the 4280 level before pushing further down. And this right here would be a good place to potentially take profit based on just market structure. So something like this, and again, it depends what entry model you use and how you like to look at the markets. But realistically, this is something that we could potentially see on gold when we look at the market going into next week. So 4280 looks quite good for weakness. If we just go back to the 4-hour, realistically, in terms of buy areas and what I'd be comfortable buying, it's a big zone here, but this area here looks like potential. And what I will do, I'll make this red just for the visual. Red is the weakness zone at 4280. Although we'd also got a take profit zone potentially down at 4185-ish, but then a nice buy area could be 4080 for gold, and that's more for a long-term play. So you could say potentially you could have a bounce from here down to here, and then price could come down to here and then up to there. So they're two things to take into consideration. The first one is going to be this area here. I'll just put 4090 there. In terms of the weakness, we can put 4270. And then as well on top of that, we also have this zone here, which could be 4186 for potential strength. Just as a heads up, last time I did one of these videos, I actually called this position here and it looked like this. If we look what would have happened, from a long-term perspective, you can see at this position, I think it's 157, 155 to 1 from when I called this position down here. So that should give you a little bit of confidence that these aren't just random levels I'm drawing, and they actually are, ones that should work and could work. Obviously, if you're looking at the analysis group that we've got at the minute, I'm 7K up this month. I've posted that in the group this week. All trades were called before we took them. And obviously the TP was set, the stop loss was set, everything was set, so that people in the group have been able to profit alongside us. The link to that will be in the description should you want to join. And then this here is basically what I'm saying for gold for the following week. If we look at euro US dollar, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mark a couple of levels that potentially will be good. I did take a short from this point here historically. That was also called in the group, and you can see pinpoint break and retest, and price continued to push down. Going into what we could potentially see for this week, last week we did take a buy from this area here, and price has come back down to it. There was a sell also at this point here, but we didn't take it due to the time of day. It was before my session came, but that was a potential sell. And then obviously this was a sell in the past as well. So just looking at the screen now, you can see that the accuracy with the strategy we trade is high. And off the back end of that, that's what you can expect to see in the analysis group. So this is basically for now, besides this one as well, this is basically what I'd be looking at with euro US dollar. These are my zones of interest for the following week. We can see price did break a trend line here with what we did for the buy. So potentially, there's two ways that I see price going on euro US dollar. We either get a break and retest and a push down to at least this level here, or we see a bounce here before a continuation up. Now, if we look from a market structure standpoint, price has been pushing down. Price has now created this big bit of structure here, which we are now retesting. So potentially, just from a trend standpoint, you could see that price continues to push a little bit higher. If we get to 1.7780, I would say, and what I'll do, 1.7780. If we get up to 1.7780, I'd be confident that we are going to see weakness within the market. So a sell from this area would be good. This area here, we're just going to have to see how it holds, but it's either going to break, retest, and drop down to 116.15, or we're going to see a bounce potentially at least up until 117.30 before potentially pushing up to 117.80. So let me just have a look. That's absolutely fine. That's basically what we're looking at. Okay. Now, that's very, very simple analysis. It doesn't need to be complicated. If you are in any of the groups, if you've seen any previous videos, the way I trade is very simple. That's why obviously it's a good strategy to trade, and people obviously enjoy trading it alongside us. But this basically, I'd be looking to pay attention to this 116.5 level where we currently are. However, 1.17, I need to edit this data. 1.178 is definitely something I'm looking at for weakness. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, pound US dollar, let's have a look at potentially what we can see here. That looks like a good zone just on face value. We also have this area here. That looks good. And let's have a look. We also have this area here. Perfect. So straight away, what I'm going to say is that the 133.60 area is going to be good for buys on pound US dollar. Okay, so if price comes down to this zone here, I would say that potential strength for the pound against the dollar is going to be good. In terms of weakness, I would still be looking at 135.30. That looks really good for positions. These are the types of trades that I will take should my DXY levels get hit, which obviously we do send to the analysis group. If everything lines up and it does make that, and a good trade's going to happen, that's when it will be taken. But until that point, again, we're not just chancing it with these levels. We do need to see additional confluences, but these are just outlining the areas that I am looking at. So straight off the bat, GU here looks really, really clean. 133.60 for strength, 135.30 for weakness. So just keep that in mind. Then let's have a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, crypto's a little bit unpredictable at the minute, but it is what it is. Obviously, I am holding crypto, but it's more long term. I'm not trying to make any quick money off it. I will, if we get all-time highs on certain coins again, I will take my profits. But until that point, I'm not really too interested in closing any positions that I do have open. So 107.5 is where we currently are. Realistically, we're either going to see a push down from this zone down to these lows, or you're going to see a break retest up to here. That's basically my analysis for Bitcoin. It doesn't need to be complicated. We do have now a channel to the downside as well in the form of that. We also have an additional channel going down like this, which we are currently retesting. So crypto at the minute, again, this huge push down is one of them. People are taking their money out of certain cryptos. Bitcoin, for me, I've never really bought properly because, the risk to reward on it in terms of the percentage gain isn't what I'm looking for. That's what my stocks are for. Whereas now we're seeing profit taking on Bitcoin. Hopefully people then push that profit to buy the altcoins, which are at the lows. That's my kind of philosophy when it comes to trading crypto. So the main ones to take from this video is my pound US dollar analysis, my euro US dollar analysis. They are the best. And then obviously we do have the gold analysis, which isn't as clean, but you can see the thought process is there. And that's the reason we're doing it. So again, links to everything are going to be in the description. I hope it helps you. Any questions, please drop them below, and we'll see you in the next video.